shapes and sizes. And one of the most fascinating things about them is they quite often remain hidden away for many years until they're found. And that's because the people that tuck them away don't realise their true potential value. But buried underneath the ground in this fairly innocuous street in the heart of Margate lies one of the world's true mysterious places. It was discovered back in 1835, and right up until this day, nobody's got a clue what it's really all about. It sounds fascinating, so let's go and have a look. The Shell Grotto in Margate is a series of underground rooms and passageways covered by 2,000 square feet of exquisite shell mosaic. This was intricately handcrafted from 4.5 million shells. Nobody knows for sure who created it, but many believe it is a 2,000-year-old temple. Sarah Vickery used to visit the grotto as a child in the 70s, and she liked it so much that 4 years ago, she bought it. Sarah, I collect shells, and I'm extremely envious of you because all these are yours. There's so many of them.
There are.
You own this?
Yes.
How did you own such a wonderful, magical grotto like this?
Well, I was brought here regularly as a small girl, and I fell in love with the place. It was just magical as a child. And my favourite book when I was little was The Secret Garden, and to find this place was, I just fell in love with it. And then I'd never come back as an adult. I'd tried to a couple of times, but always got lost because we're so tucked away. And then I saw it was up for sale, and it was a bit like, oh, my grotto's for sale. And I came and saw it, and that was that, really.
So you literally dropped everything in your life and thought, right, that's it, I'm going to buy this, I've got to have it.
Yeah, exactly that.
And is it still magical?
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. I come down here every day. I still love it.
It was discovered back in 1835, but obviously it predates that by many, many years. How was it discovered?
Purely by chance. This was all just farmers' fields. There's a big house that's still there that was a private schoolhouse,
yes.
And the schoolmaster's children found the passage that you first walked down and used to play down here. And I think one day their dad said, where are those kids going? And that's how they found it. No one in the town knew anything about it. No one had any memory of going to collect the shells. Their great-granddad hadn't told tales about it. So that kind of leads me to think that it must be really quite old, and certainly predate the 18th century.
Where do you think most of the shells have come from? I mean, they look like they're from the British Isles, from the polar waters.
I think the nearest place where you would have found this sort of quantity of shells locally is over at Shellness. It's about a 16-mile round trip. So it would have been a huge undertaking, actually.
By the lorry load?
Absolutely. Well, by the cart load.
Yes.
No lorries. By the horse and cart load.
Everything is telling a story, but if only we knew what it was about. Well, Sarah, take me on a magical mystery tour. Come on, I'll follow you.
Right, follow me then.
Point out your favourite panels and what they mean to you. What have we got here?
Well, we've got lots of celebrations of life in the grotto, but we've also got some reminders of death as well. So we've got a little skeleton here. He's lost a lot of his face over the years, but you can still see his ribs.
His ribs, yes, pelvis.
And his pelvis and his legs down there. The skeleton's quite an ancient Masonic symbol as well, and there's lots of Masonic symbolism in here.
It's incredible, look, they've not gone for the same sort of shell species here, which they have, but they've gone for shell size in their selection.
Yeah.
So everything is mathematically put together.
Yeah, the sorting of the shells would have taken a huge amount of time, particularly with the small winkles, which sort of make up the background, if you like, to the designs.
Let's see more.
Okay.
I love these arched ceilings.
Yeah, they're beautiful, aren't they? And this is the first panel you see as you come down the passageway, and is probably quite an important one. Running all the way through the grotto is a horizon line.
Oh, here.
That's right, yeah. And we think that below that represents the earth and above it is the heavenly realm. And this is one of the very few ones that doesn't have the line and spans both heaven and earth, and has always been called the womb. And
oh, you can see why.
well, you can see why, yeah, it's pretty clear. So this is probably one of the most important panels here, and really sort of embodies what the grotto is about, really, in terms of fertility and the power of the female.
Yeah, and the celebration of life.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. But we've got some celebrations of the male life around there, so I can show you those now. Right, well, we've seen the female fertility symbol, so here's one of our male symbols. This is one of our phalluses, which I think is quite impressive.
I knew you could say that.
Well, yes. We've been doing some metal detecting in the grotto, and we found there's a big lump of metal at the base of it as well. Of course, we don't know what that is, and we'll never be able to find out, but it is quite intriguing.
It's fascinating. The whole place is so fascinating. I was trying to think of something funny to say, but I'm sure something will pop up. Should we move on?
This is what we call the serpentine passage. Okay. Obviously, it's very, very curvy. And then we come into the altar room.
Wow, look at this. This is the end result. When you say the serpentine passage, is the whole thing shaped on a serpentine?
Yeah, the whole thing is very serpent-like. And as you come through here, this is what we think of as our altar. Strangely, it's off-centre on this wall, but that's possibly because it faces the door and forms the serpent's head.
Technology has not been able to explain the origin or the purpose of the grotto. But a few years ago, a remarkable piece of research was uncovered which might throw some light on the mystery.
There's a local historian who thinks that the grotto is starting to speak to him, which is a bit magical. And he started interpreting some of it and coming up with some really exciting stuff. He's found out that we started off by thinking that perhaps the dome could operate as a kind of solar calendar. And so we did an experiment on the summer solstice a couple of years ago. We took the cover off the dome and we waited for midday, and sure enough the sun shone directly down, and we had some mirrors in these niches, and we put them down the passageways because there are some slightly reflective panels down there, and the sun bounced off the mirrors and shone directly onto our altar. So that was magic, actually.
Right, so the light also would have bounced through there and ended there, so you get this kind of image.
Yes, absolutely, and that started him thinking about, about sun alignments, and because I think it would just be too much of a coincidence for that to happen. I think it's been built for that purpose. Well, some treasures are more reluctant to give up their secrets than others, but that doesn't take away their endless fascination for us. Right now, we're going straight over to the auction room to see if our treasures can fascinate the bidders.